friends. Welcome, welcome. What we got hopping in so far? Legless, Stan. Hello, guys. Oh, man. We in this. Started at 8:14. Your day has been made. Awesome. Well, let's see if we can. I'm going to call it 8:15. Whew. We in this. Ugh. Trying to eliminate turnover time with the warm-ups being quicker so that I can take more time in the actual sets that matter. Math in the head, guys. Math in the head is the toughest kind of math there is. Especially when people are watching. How many weeks out, Stan? The meet is on June 24th, I think. Yes, June 24th. So this is the last heavy-ish week. With Thursday's squats and either Friday or Saturday's deadlifts. I don't know which day I'm going to do those on, actually. I'd like to do them Saturday, but I have some other stuff I have to do that may conflict. And then next week, everything kind of tapers down, and then it's basically deloading into the meet. So math is always in the head, no calculators necessary. Yeah, well, with how many times I've misloaded weights that I should not have misloaded, I gotta make sure that I'm double checking things. How are you guys doing tonight? How's everyone doing? I've been dragging a little bit today myself, to tell you the complete and honest truth. Had to really kind of psych myself up for this beforehand, just to feel awake and engaged mentally. It's been a day that the default of laziness has been really, really like right there. Want to be lazy all day. Garage, pretty good. Good luck on the session. Thank you. Thank you. I am definitely open to luck being involved on this session, just with how I'm trying to get myself to feel. Oh, Stan, thank you. I'm glad I can add some level of enjoyment to your day. been still in the process of getting my sleep schedule totally adjusted, and I'm doing better at like waking up on time, but I'm still struggling to make sure that I'm even when I'm implementing some of my morning routine that usually would set me on track. Sometimes I get myself in a bad loop of habits of maybe consuming too much media or something, you know, via like just scrolling mindlessly on YouTube, or if someone messages me on Facebook, I'll go to that first instead of like, I should have done my meditation first, or I should have journaled first, and those other things get pushed back because I don't necessarily want to do them all the time. Jason, how often do I actually eat rice? Probably every day now, actually, because one of my main calorie sources comes from eating the crock pot chicken, the salsa chicken that I make, and then I put it over rice and put some cheese in it, and it's pretty good. So I probably eat rice about once a day. Gerbraj, how does my sleep schedule work? I'm just trying to fix it. I'm trying to give myself an actual bedtime. I can wake up early with no problems if I have somewhere to go or something to do, but I set my own schedule because I work from home. This is, you know, coaching is my job. And there are plenty of times where I've actually considered getting a regular job, like a part-time job, just to add a forced sense of structure, because if I wanted to, I could be nocturnal in terms of my, like, I had many training sessions that I've started at midnight or later. Doesn't seem to bug me, but it's just easier to exist in the world when you're the kind of person who wakes up early and goes to bed at a reasonable time. So for me, it's not even like that early of a time. I used to have a job where I had to wake up and be there by like 5 a.m. So getting up at 8:30 isn't a problem, but going to bed and being able to bring myself down so I can actually sleep by 12:30 so that I get 8 hours of sleep has proven to be a challenge. So I'm still waking up on time, but I'm still working on going to bed at a decent hour, just so that I can kind of front load my days and prioritize that more. But the initial change is causing me to feel tired during the mornings, and yeah, so I'm trying to change something that's kind of almost fundamental to my personality. It's really challenging. Billy, how do the SBD wrist wraps compare to the Inzer? I prefer them. The Inzer wraps I had were never this long, though. These are the flexible SBD 1 meter, and I think the longest Inzer ones I ever had were probably like 16 inches or something. So I prefer these, or else I would use something else, I guess, is what my official response on that is. All right, we're ready for another set, I think. Huzzah. Well, these are already going a lot better than last night's, or actually it wasn't at nighttime, it was yesterday in the afternoon, my bench session. Evadisk, what does a blah, 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 blah. I can read words, I promise. Does a weight belt help prevent or induce an inguinal hernia during conventional deadlifts? The belt, I think the main idea is to help you cue intra-abdominal pressure. I think I've heard them called hernia belts in the past, but I have not seen very many instances of people actually getting hernias during their deadlifting. Definitely I see more often than not there being like disc issues or something from people using bad technique. And even though I've heard people talk about hernias in the past, with 17 years of doing it, I've never actually seen someone get a hernia deadlifting. And I don't have any anecdotal stories that people have told me of, oh, so-and-so got a hernia. So I don't feel competent enough to speak on that topic, because I have zero personal experience with it, even anecdotally speaking. Let's see. Gotta slow down, Ben. Slow down. Garage. I see. I've been sleeping problems most of my life. Bad for life quality. It's so key. Everything in your life goes better when you're sleeping on a consistent schedule. Regardless of what it is, doing it consistently and having your body kind of naturally wake up and go to sleep is really important. Sam, I've never officially had my testosterone levels tested. I have not. I've always been curious. I'm actually kind of nervous that if I was to ever go get them tested, that they'd tell me that I had like low levels or something, and it would be discouraging. So, Garbage, I often listen to podcasts when I sleep and your videos. I don't know if I would suggest that, actually. One of the things that's been helping me a lot has been removing media and mental stimulation from from the bedroom, trying to limit the amount of that kind of input. I have the Headspace app, and they have a sleeping exercise that's just 10 minutes of kind of meditation, relaxing meditation, and that's all I do now, because otherwise I'll get looped into a topic, or I'll think for 2 hours on something that I heard that was interesting. So that's something I've been working on trying to change. Big Birdie, have you ever had any injuries or irritations as a result of the belt? Personally, no. I know some lifters who have, though. I don't wear my belt tight. I don't wear it nearly as tight as many lifters do. I like to... And I actually haven't even tightened it from when I was a 205 competitor. And I can still get my hand partially through, even though I'm 15 pounds heavier now. But I push against it. I use it as a tool to brace against. So. I think a key point of that, though, is I'm not trying to push out with my stomach. I'm pushing out from all directions. And that's been helpful for me. Sam, what's my favorite PR song? I don't think I have one anymore. I used to. I have lots of songs that I like listening to. At Nationals, when they had the primetime selection, we got to pick songs to walk out to. I picked, at the time, I used Feel Invincible by Skillet for my squat. I used Gurin no Yumiya that's the theme song, the opening OP for Attack on Titan for my bench press. And I used Near My God to Thee, the vocal point arrangement for my deadlift. But the only one they actually got right at Nationals was my squat song. So I guess there's that. Yesterday during my squats, I was trying to move with kind of a quickness. And I was just playing the last 3 years, the League of Legends World Championship songs. So Warriors, Worlds Collide, and Ignite are the 3 names of those songs. And those were fun. One Scouser and Proud, Ben, ever incorporate hyperextensions or reverse hypers in my training? I might, but I don't have access to those here. I'm not really... I've never really implemented a whole lot of hyperextensions. I have, in the past when I had access to them, done reverse hypers and glute ham raises. But like I said, I don't have those readily available right now, and I don't think that they're as high a priority for me as getting an actual bench is. So the first piece of equipment I will add when I have the disposable income for it is a bench press. That is an actual bench, like competition standards, not slick, not too short, and all the things that are goofy about this one. But until that happens, I'll make do. feel, as grimy as they are, they still feel way better than yesterday. I had 325 for 6 sets of 5 yesterday, and none of the individual reps were all that hard. But holy noodle toast, I was just, my shoulders never, I was just getting sloppy as the sets went on because I was getting fatigued. And it took me longer to get my benching done than it took for me to get my squats done yesterday, which is pretty unique of an experience for me. Charles, are push-ups during your day a good way to increase press strength? I mean, you're increasing the time that you're getting activation through that area. I know a lot of people who like to do push-ups, actually. Maybe my bench would be better if I tried them. I wouldn't say that I have a whole lot of... because I work with some guys in the military, and they have to implement push-ups for their PT testing. I don't know. If your recovery can handle it, then I would say that it doesn't sound like it would be a bad idea to try out and find out. But the problem you might run into is that if it's taking away from your actual training, then you have a problem, right? You have a conflict of interest in terms of where your priorities are, because if you're producing a stimulus that requires recovery throughout the day, is that going to be detracting from the quality of your training sessions? So it's about priority management, and maybe if your goal is to just be all around healthy, I think that it makes more sense in that context versus like absolute powerlifting. It potentially is taking away from the powerlift training. So, Grabraj, how many hours a week would I say that I work? Do you think it is too much, too little, or just right? It depends, because my work is so kind of ambiguous in terms of classification of like, am I working right now or am I doing something for me? My life is kind of intermelded with this, because am I answering questions from athletes who want to, am I live streaming? Is this work? I don't know. I'm training. Training is technically work for me, since this is what I base my income on. Is the time, I guess the time that I'm programming for people and giving updates weekly would count. I just have it's not like I have a 9 to 5 where I could point to and say this is what I work. And it shifts, it fluctuates, because some weeks someone's got a meet coming up and we have to talk about their openers and a game plan and discuss those things. And other weeks I've got someone who needs a lot of video like responses and critique and things like that. So just some things like that. I guess I don't have a solid answer for you. I wish I did. It would probably be something I should probably track that a little more closely and get a better idea of it. Usually when I feel like I have too much going on is usually when I'm most productive, though. I tend to rise to the occasion when I have work on me, and I feel worse and more stressed out when I don't have as much to do, because I get anxious that I'm forgetting something or that I need to be doing something, and I don't feel as fulfilled when I'm just sitting around. It feels worse. So if anything, I need more work, always, to feel like I'm doing something. Charles, I realize my bench press is okay, but my push-ups are so bad I need to work both because push-ups are pathetic. Well, then I guess that answers your question. So that sounds more like something in terms of like endurance, muscle endurance, and lactic acid tolerance versus maximum strength output. C. Gasons, hello! Big Birdie, when we get to see another singing vid? I don't know. I'm singing the national anthem at the Tangi Johnson Classic this weekend in Tacoma, which may affect actually Saturday's stream because I have to be there and sing for the night show. And it's my heaviest deadlift until the meet. So I don't know if I want to try and mush that all in before I have to leave for Tacoma and potentially get caught in traffic. Because I can't be late for that. The national anthem has to come before the show. So, yeah. Maybe I'll film that, and if not, as soon as I'm able to get a good recording of myself either rehearsing with the guys or, who knows. I don't have an answer for you, Big Birdie. I like singing. I like performing. I like being able to have material to post up for you guys on that. So it will kind of have to do with that. Garage, I'll be right back after this last regular bench set to check out your question or response, if that's what it was. Nope, misgrooved. That second one was so sketchy. I touched down here instead of up here because I was rushing. Don't rush the reps. You can rush the rest periods, but don't rush your reps. That's bad. That's bad Juju Magumbo. All right. Garage, we'll know there's the type of answer you... Oh, okay. Thinking that it's difficult to mix hobby with work, or should I say passion instead of hobby? Yeah. I guess it's kind of hard to label because they do kind of conflate. Yeah, prioritization is the tough part. It really is. Coming down to, because you can, one of the problems is you can justify, when that's the case, it's really hard to separate them for yourself in terms of like not getting taken advantage of, because your time is a valuable commodity, even when you're kind of doing what you love to do. And so if I wasn't doing this as a job full time, I would still want to be helping people, and I wouldn't be, if financially it wasn't like the way that I sustain my life, then I would want to do it for free. So I would want to help people for free. So I'm drawn to do that, but at the same time, that's my sole source of income. So I have to monetize it, which can get challenging sometimes, because whether you want to do it for free or not, it's tough. So, Oliver, which exercises do you do for triceps? Bench press is the primary one because the lockout. Close grip bench press specifically to target your triceps. Dips, making sure that you fully lock out. Currently, I'm pretty sure Eric put this in, not Hanny, but Eric has me doing overhead single arm dumbbell extensions. Really controlled, but yeah, those are the things that I use. And for my own athletes, I tend to program either dips or close grip for their tricep work. Where am I at? Squats, what I do last week. Come on. Come on. This session we did 355, so let's go 360 for the Spoto single today. 360, and I think 320 then is the back off triples. I see Chick-fil-A, Eric. Ben, what brand is that black A7 shirt you wear? I want to buy it. I don't know if you can buy it. I mean, it's A7, but it's not a bar grip shirt. It's their competition shirt from the A7 Raw Challenge for the Arnold. It was the shirt that they gave out for the competitors to wear. So I don't know if they actually sell it. But you can get similar shirts from A7. I really like them as a company. I'm a fan, even though I don't actually own their bar grip shirts. I know a lot of people who have them, and I wouldn't be mad if Jason decided to send me one of theirs. But they're just always out of stock, or else I would have gotten one myself. Oliver, you're very welcome. And what do I think of sumo stiff leg deads? I've done them maybe once or twice. What do I think of them? I don't have very strong opinions or thoughts about them. So, in what context? As in, do I think are you a conventional puller? Are you a sumo puller? Are you trying to use them as a variation? Are you trying to use them as accessory? Are you trying to use them instead of doing something else? What are your thoughts? Seagazen, do I ever deadlift in shorts? No, I actually don't work out in shorts unless they are like the bottom half of a singlet, or I have one pair of tight pants, which are some virus like capri cut leggings. I'm doing it again. Can't do that. can't wrap my wrists when I'm not ready to, when the bar's not loaded for the right weight yet. Hi, Coach. Hello, Shebel. Shebel. Albeta. Woo! We gone. Check the weights. All right, 360 on the bar for a single Spoto press, no elbow sleeves or thumb loops allowed, as is my rule for all my top sets. Raj, do you have a regular contact with Izzy from Powerlifting Win? You guys live the same sort of area or close by? Not, actually, yeah, I think last week we were messaging back and forth about how crazy Russian training systems are. And we had a good long talk. I was asking him for advice, because I think he's a better business owner than I am. And we have the same profession, essentially. And I've said it before on this, and I'll say it, I continue to believe it. I think I'm a very good coach and a very bad businessman. And so asking him for some advice on trying to be more effective at the parts of being a coach that I'm not as good at, namely the organizational aspects. And what's the word I'm thinking of? The due diligence, I guess? Yeah. I don't know what the administrative. I'm not as good at the administrative end, but I think I'm a pretty qualified coach in terms of my lifters tend to do pretty well and tend to be pretty happy with their experience, unless they're lying to me, in which case, what are you guys doing here? All right. I never know with Spoto Press. I never know if I've achieved the appropriate bench depth when I'm supposed to stop it off my chest. 28 minutes, that's not too bad. I think we're pretty close to on pace for what I had in mind. I think that was accurate to the RPE too. Woohoo! Shall you pronounce my name right? That's rare. Well, I do try my best. When I mispronounce someone's name, it's either because I know them and I'm doing it as a joke, or I honestly tried and I'm just not able to get it. Big Birdie, any suggestions for wrist stability in the deadlift? I've been struggling to keep the wrists and joint at top of the movement. They get really sore if I fail. Deadlift. Wonder if you might be holding the bar too high in your hand? Where do you hold the bar? That's my question, because for me, I push this line of calluses, I push that out of the way and come around the bar there. That should keep your wrist pretty neutral. If you hold it up here to get your hand out of the way, you may end up ratcheting your wrist, but I'm not entirely sure what's causing it. I know some lifters, in the deadlift, some lifters wrap their wrists tight with a set of wrist wraps because when you compress everything in here, it does tend to keep the hand from opening. I personally can't. I need to feel the bar, but that might be something to consider. But I don't have I don't have really a good answer for that because I haven't heard of that issue before. That might be unique. You may need to go and get that checked out because that doesn't sound like a very common occurrence. If you said from like the bench press or something, or the squat maybe, but from the deadlift, it sounds like a very unique problem, unfortunately. Thomas, you just hired Izzy. Good on you, man. You're gonna see some progress. I like Izzy a lot. I think he's a smart dude. I think he's a good guy. And yeah. I wonder, not wonder, I'm trying to, for my meet, my coaches are going to be in Belarus. They're going to be head coaching the Worlds team, or they're assistant coaching the Worlds team for USA in the IPF Worlds in Belarus that same weekend, I think. It's going for a long time. But I'm going to see, I think Izzy might actually be at my meet. And so it'd be nice to kind of hook up with him and maybe get his advice. I don't always, I tend to be okay handling other lifters, but handling myself when it comes to attempts, it's something I like to leave to someone else so that I can just focus in on doing the lifting and not worrying so much about the numbers. So who knows? I actually probably may reach out to Izzy and see what he's doing that weekend. Brandon, what's up? Oh, excuse me. You're done with the truck training and getting closer to being able to finally find time to train. Oh, awesome. That's great. As in need a coach after I find a gym. Well, you have my email address. So don't ever hesitate to reach out, my friend. Big Birdie, it's an out of joint in a twist motion externally. I hold the bar quite low. Do you do an over-under grip, Birdie? Or do you hook grip at all? Because I could see maybe you're getting a lot of torque if you're cueing your elbows in, if you have one wrist and are lacking mobility in the shoulder, potentially, or you have some impingement somewhere, if that's putting it at an odd angle, and then when you pull on it, it's torqued too much, and then it is releasing. Sometimes over under, mostly hook. Weird. I wish that I had a more solid answer for you. But off the top of my head, I don't have something that I could just spit out as kind of an FAQ fix for that. I might, it's not going to do you any good right now for this stream, but I might reach out to a couple of people that I go to whenever I have movement or pain issues and see if they have any answer. Maybe if you shoot me an email at the same one that's linked in all my descriptions, so I have a way to get back to you if I find an answer for that, or if I find any ideas, I might reach out to you in that way if I think of something. Because that sucks. That isn't something that I would wish on anybody. Hello, Alex. C. Gason, have I ever trained twice a day? Oh, yeah. Through high school, I used to do like 2 or 3 a days. My friend Adam and I we'd wake up, go to the YMCA, train at 6 in the morning, and then we'd swim afterwards, and then we would go and do workouts at the weight room at the high school for football, and then sometimes we would do track workouts afterwards. So we were doing 3 or 4 a days. But that was the only thing either of us were like interested in doing. What's up, William? Did it again. Did it again. It's okay though. It's a simple change. Still need to work on this. Fix your life choices, Ben. First comment. Feel fine. I never know if they're good or not when it comes to Spoto pressing. I'll have to watch the video afterwards and find out. See, Jason, that's the secret. No, I think we could have definitely been way smarter about our training. We just kind of threw straight up hard work and effort. I don't know. It was fun. Great for building mental toughness. Adam is still one of my best friends. He is my best friend. Adam's my best friend, but still has, if I ever need to get my butt kicked, if I'm stuck feeling sorry for myself or something, and he has a certain way of kind of reaching down and pulling my head out of my butt sometimes. Half tie guy, do elbow sleeves work well? As in give you some extra spring like knee sleeves or wraps? Just curious. There's some sort of help maybe. These ones are pretty loose. They're not nearly as helpful as like the stronger ones from Slingshot or the SBDs. They do provide a little bit. I mostly wear these for my normal volume work, just for some compression as a precaution. But I never wear them for top sets ever. If I have a top set, if it's the heaviest I'm going that day, the thumb loop comes off and the elbow sleeve has to come off, because I don't ever want to convince myself that I'm further along in my press than I am. But these are great when I've got 4 bench training days. With yesterday I did 30 working reps with 325, and what do we got today? 12 minus, over 20 working reps today, and 16 plus on Thursday, and then another close to 20 on Saturday. So it's just the amount of volume that and that's dropping volume like crazy peeking into this meet. So that amount of volume on my elbows tends to really, the elbow sleeves are appreciated. I'll say that. Thomas, how did you guys have time to work out that often? I wish I could train that often. I don't have time. It was during the summer is what we did. And that was what we did. We put all of our focus into that. We didn't do other things. We didn't, one of the reasons Adam and I got so close in high school is because we did not we didn't go out, we didn't go to parties, we didn't do anything like that. We basically, Adam's goal was to play in the NFL, and now he's there. My goal was to, at the time, was to support him in his goals, and kind of moved towards like pursuing powerlifting to the degree that I have, because I had been powerlifting for a while at that point, but like really started pushing it then. So you work full days? Yeah. Let me see. At the time, I was a volunteer for the fire department. I didn't get enough sleep. We were just young enough to kind of deal with it. And Adam had a lawn mowing business, and I helped him with that. So we were kind of in business together. But like all of our leisure time was spent with training, all of it. So. Grant, opinions on cheap lifting belts from Amazon. I think if you're going to invest in a belt, $30 to $50 is not a whole lot cheaper than buying an Inzer Forever lever. I think I got mine for $70 in 2008. They may be more expensive now, but the difference in cost between those, which are not going to be as helpful, and where they are now, I would say if you're going to invest $50, go ahead and invest enough to get something you're going to be happy with and not have to replace down the road if you get more serious about it. Thanks for response. What's Freudian slip? Thomas, I had a girlfriend, but she had a job too, and she understood. So. Dropped the second one a little too low, like to my chest. I actually touched my shirt on that second rep, so I tried to slow the third one down. Yikes. Big Birdie, ever grow out my beard? I had a goatee at the end of high school, and I grew out my hair. My hair gets really curly when it's long. Not a fan. Not a fan of looking back on that. It was kind of like, maybe I won't try that again. Thomas, yeah, that's basically all my time. I'm not telling you that your priorities and time management are not where they should be for you. All I'm just saying is that's kind of where mine were at the time. So I would never think less of somebody for having different goals or interests or priorities in their life. Dorothy, how much better does bench feel with the sleeves? Since I never do my top sets with them, it'd be hard for me really to tell, because the only time that I'm wearing them is when I'm doing like the volume work that I do, and I rarely have my top sets. It definitely feels better, or else I wouldn't wear them. Because I hate when people say like, oh, my knee sleeves don't help me at all. These definitely help. But again, the reason I wear them is more to prevent there being issues. Alex, when's the next meet? It's June 24th, so in Linwood, Washington. Brandon, speaking of gyms, what kind of house do you have? Do you have roommates? Does the noise of dropping weights at night cause little disturbances? I've lived in like 7 different houses since I've had this gym. I've moved so often and had roommates. You just have to be upfront with the people you're living with before you get there. You can't spring a home gym on people. So I've had a lot of different things. Thomas, I just don't know how someone can train 3 times a day, because that was our biggest priority. Think about what your biggest priority is in life. No, we marveled. It just was what it was. It's when someone else, I'm marveled when someone goes and, works 80 hours a week for a corporate job or something. It's just a different type of focus. And I'm not suggesting that. I'm not saying that what we were doing was like the best thing for everyone to do. It wasn't just powerlifting, Thomas. We were doing swimming workouts and we were doing sprinting workouts because at the time we were getting ready for football season. And I was not nearly as strong as I am now. So the weights that I was using were, in terms of absolute weight poundage, was probably not that much. We did a lot of like athletic type training. Sometimes we'd drive out to the beach and do sprint training on the sand. That was horrendous. But going into Adam's senior year, my junior year, I think that our goal was to outwork everybody in the state. And while I don't want to arrogantly like assume that we made it, I would be very impressed to find someone who during that time was like just putting in the raw total hours that we were putting in. So Thomas, I just have orders and debt. Like I said, man, we didn't have that. Adam had his lawn mowing business, and I worked odd jobs and was going on calls with the fire department. So we structure our lives around that and made it work. And I'm not saying that's what you should do. You should prioritize your life for what suits your situation. That's how it is. Garage, how is my living situation? I live in a house with roommates. Like I said, I've lived in like 7 or 8 houses, and I'm going to be moving again within the next 6 months, hopefully. So in the past, I've had roommates, and then I've not had roommates. The last place I lived, I didn't have any roommates except for my cat, and it was great. Ellensburg had a super low cost of living compared to the Kent or the I-5 corridor area where I'm planning to move after this, which is near Seattle. So in a lower cost situation now and trying to just save up for that move. Okay. Last set, we're actually on track, surprisingly enough. Benching done in 44 minutes and 28 seconds. That's my goal for this split was actually 45 minutes, so we nailed it. Alex, yes, I'm moving again. I wasn't planning to move here because this is my hometown, and I like it here, but the goal was to move from Ellensburg to Kent, and just at the time it wasn't possible, and the cost of living here is just immensely easier on my situation, so that I'm able to actually save up for that. Thomas, any suggestions for my situation? It's about prioritization and time management, something I'm not so good at anymore. As I've gotten more responsibilities and actually been more in charge of my own schedule, I've actually struggled more with that. My advice is to keep a list of the things in your life that, like, what are my goals? What are the things that I want to do? And have an honest conversation with yourself about where training fits in that. Because it may not be a time when you can focus on that. If your situation means that you need to focus more on doing work and stuff, then you adjust to that. But you have to make that. You have to be honest with yourself about where your priorities sit, because we come into contact with what we really want with what we spend our time doing. And I will never judge you or tell you that you should spend your time doing this or you should spend your time doing that, because it comes down to a choice of what you value in your life, and that should be the only thing that matters. But when you have responsibilities, those need to be priorities as well. So you just have to do that. Like where I cannot get very much sleep and have lots of stuff to do. Yeah, man. Prioritize those things. Try to nap when you can. Schedule your time. Start early in the day and spend your focus and energy right away when you have time to do it, so that you any of your luxury time, you're not doing that and stressing yourself out before you have finished the things that you have to do. Take care of what you need to do first, and it's the fable or the parable that I've talked about a few times, and I think is really helpful. Imagine your life is this big jar, okay, and your priorities in your life are these big rocks that you put into the jar, right? Those have to go in first, because all the other stuff is going to be pebbles or sand or water, things that you can fill the jar up with. But if you put the sand in the jar first and fill it up to the top, those are your smaller the things that are further down on your priority list. But then you try to put a big rock in there, it's not going to fit. But if you put the rock in first, and then you put kind of the pebbles, the smaller things, and then you cover it with sand, you can get more total out of your life. You can fit more things into your life by prioritizing it with the important things, the things that are the most important to get done first. And I am not great at that. That's something I really, really struggle with, because sometimes my big rock is not the thing that's in line with the kind of choices that I personally need to make to be successful in other areas of my life that are important, like, you know, paying bills and doing that kind of stuff. So I'm not coming at it and saying like, oh, I've done this and it's easy to do. It's absolutely crazy hard for some people, and it just comes down to trying your best. So I hope that helps a little bit. Yeah, that's how that's the only advice I can really give, I guess. Alex, do I do my glute bridges off a bench or flat off the ground? Currently, I'm doing them off a bench, but I'm not loading them very much because it does put a lot of pressure on the knee that I've been nursing. Garage, may I ask why you've moved around so much? I was a student in school and was never sure when I was done. I took a few extra years taking other classes and was not the most focused on finishing school, and so I was never sure how long I'd be in any living situation. And when roommates would move out, my lease would be up and I'd find somewhere else, kind of thing. So I moved around a lot while I was going to university. And now I moved to a place that's inexpensive enough that I'm able to kind of recoup some of the cost of living, so that I have enough built up, because I was able to survive kind of on a month-to-month basis. I was able to take care of my basic needs, but I didn't have enough kind of to back the safety and the financial security of a move to a higher cost of living location, which is where I'm heading, because that's where my girlfriend is and that's where her business aspirations lie. And since I do work from home, and living in an area like that would actually give me more opportunities to work with people in person as well. So that's kind of it. Hey Lenny, welcome sir. You're not that late. I just benched fast again. Brandon, that's why the box is in the background? Yeah, I move a lot. Garage, oh, Thomas, maybe get a flexible job. You're doing, yeah, I mean, flexible job is nice if you're good at organizing your time, but it actually is even harder for me personally now. When I was busy all the time, like when I was going to college, I was an RA for 4 years. I ended up having, I was still training, I was still taking full course load credits, and then I got a job as a custodian in the summers there, and I got a job working in the rec center there, and so doing all that stuff, and I felt like I managed my time better because I didn't have a choice. So I'm trying to fix it now. That's the last few months have been really me digging in, trying to fix the sleep schedule, do all these things, and be a better Benjamin at adulting, I guess. Brandon, do I have a gym membership, seeing how I have a home gym? I do not currently have a gym membership, so all of my training is done in here. Or I visit people and either will pay a day pass or will be fortunate enough that I know the owner, and they're a lot of them tend to be very generous if you're kind back. So, Alex, oh, you're not asking me. Thomas, you work in a truck accessory company? Well, that sounds like it's probably giving you some financial stability, which is something that I can say through college I didn't have a whole lot of. So there's a plus right there for you, my friend. Play myself. Can't go playing yourself. This will be interesting. Turnover time, 9 minutes. That's better than last week. I think last week took like 20 minutes or something to turn over from the bench to the deadlifts. Because that was a chatty little fella. Goodness gracious. Thomas, you work on machinery? Sick. Sickening shout out, 8pth. Calling muscle is 100% natural. Hyphy mud and tuna fish. That's all you need in life. Congrats on the promotion, Thomas. Chick-fil-A Eric, Ben, what accessory movements for bench would you recommend, and can you explain why? I would look at your lift. I would look at where you need work. I think the bench is kind of the most ambiguous in terms of, like, there's a lot of different ways that it could be messing up. And Yeah. I think usually the biggest thing is to just have, I think you can afford more variation in the bench press in terms of your accessory movements, because if you get a bigger upper body, your bench tends to benefit more than like getting bigger legs or anything would really benefit something that's more mechanical, like your deadlift. That is way too dismissive of an answer, by the way. Obviously, hypertrophy in any area that's crucial for being a prime mover in the other lifts is going to be beneficial, but I think with the bench press you can have a wider variety of variations because you can fit more into your program with benching because the musculature is smaller in general, and so the recovery time is a lot faster. That's why you can have that's why I have 4 time a week frequency on my bench press, and even though my bench is horrible, and can only manage like 2 time a week deadlift frequency, and probably could squat more than twice a week, but not when I'm trying to deadlift seriously twice a week as well. So there's just more space in a program to have variance for the upper body stuff, I think, with the press. So I would say that's almost more I need to look and see where you're weak, where you have imbalances, where things are not going the way they should, and I would address it that way. Where like for deadlifts, I'd say, the same thing, but pause deadlifts probably cover everything. Or for squats, like the same thing, but either doing a high bar position to like throw you out of your stuff would be probably beneficial, even though for me it's not, because my technique with high bars is so bad, my knees track and it always puts pressure on them. What do you know? No, Lenny, the people don't want curls. You're lying to them. You're telling them falsities. Good morning, Andreas. Hello, sir. Big Birdie, these are some shoes that one of my lifters, Marty Agos, sent me. They're Nike Manny Pacquiao's. They're not what I would recommend someone use for deadlifting. Actually, I don't use them for my sumo deadlifting at all, because they have kind of this cushion in them, so I feel them kind of squish down into the ground. But I wear them because Marty was nice enough to send them to me, and because my conventionals are always so light anyway, that the footwear doesn't affect me as much. But I wouldn't wear these on a sumo deadlift or something that was like not a good thing. Lenny, you're about to test your max again, Smolov Jr. If you fail 275 again, don't kill yourself on stream, please. Don't miss it. Don't miss that, and then also don't kill yourself either way. Lenny, lives matter. Cookie cutters are making me blush. Small of his love, small of his life, you guys. Andy Hoff, who's my favorite deadlifter? I don't have one. I know too many awesome deadlifters that I think are incredible people as well. So I don't have one that I would say, like, this is my favorite deadlifter. You guys actually helping a lot, though, I feel like. Just talking, you guys helps a lot. Well, glad to hear that, Thomas. It's awesome. Brandon, is my coaching Skype where you can see how we work out, or will you just shoot videos and check out form, or is it weekly emails, reports, programming? I program weekly, and then I get feedback from the lifter, and I adjust the program for the next week based on the feedback. If someone sends videos, I review the video and give them ideas, critique, things like that. But I basically try to, it's a coaching service. What the lifter needs to progress is what I try to make happen. So if it looks different for each of my lifters. Have a good night, Thomas. Thanks for stopping by, man. Good luck with the prioritization stuff. Remember, front load your days. Biggest priorities first, so you have room for the other stuff afterwards. He said to you as he said to himself. I hope that answered your question, Brandon. Okay, we're just gonna be going. We're gonna rapid fire these warm-ups because I never need to take the time that I take, and I end up wasting so much time when I could be wasting time in between the work sets where you should be wasting time. easy setup. Trying to double overhand with no chalkies. Silly bang. See, that's how long it should take. Whew. Dale can outbench me. Everyone can outbench me. I've got a bum shoulder and all the excuses to back up everything. Oh boy. From 53 to 103 for the warm-ups. That was significantly better than in the past few weeks where I've just taken my sweet time. Something's feels weird though. Where is it? Where did you go? I had a... There it is. Little blister or something. Gross. Gross. Garage, what are my thoughts on conditioning work? It needs to make sense. It needs to make sense for what you're doing. If it lines up with your goals, go for it. In general, if you can train more time efficiently, you get more done, your recovery ends up being a little bit faster, it can be beneficial. For general health, it's great. For a power lifter, your attempts are going to be spaced out 10 to 15 minutes at meets. So conditioning work past a level of like basic general physical preparedness is not super necessary for a power lifter. If you want to be a strong man or if you just want to be generally healthy, I'm talking specifically from like if your only goal is to be a power lifter and all you want to do is the squat, bench, and deadlift for maximum weights, your conditioning is much less of a factor. Sean is 8 weeks out instead of 12 cut in full effect. Alex, but that deadlift, what do you think about that, Dale? Andreas. I am. Big Birdie, how do I get those plates on that fast without finger smashing? Yeah, just practice, I guess. When I train off stream, my warm-ups usually go really quickly. That's a habit that I need to improve on, because my warm-ups don't need to take as long as I let them take. Then I can take adequate time during the between the actual sets. Makes more sense. Alex, I didn't double overhand 495. That was wrong. Brandon, thanks. I'm just worried about my form right now. I just want to start off right. But this group is so inspirational. I can't wait to get a gym membership. What a time to be alive. Sean's on the stair stepper. Lenny, you don't mind doing cardio, you just say how much time it takes. See, I think the way I implemented cardio, because my conditioning needed to be better going into the Arnold, right? Because I had 2 meets back to back, so I needed my recovery to be able to compete in a full meet on Friday, and then I needed to be rested enough to compete again on Sunday. Didn't factor in how my hands would get torn up. Whatever, you live and you learn. I just need to get better hands. But for that, I was just keeping close track of my rest periods, and I was warming up quickly. I was doing that. I was add a plate, go, add a plate, go, add a plate, go, and not taking extra time. And I think I talked about this in the last stream, but one of the things I've run into at a couple of meets is getting to the warm-up room and having something go wonky, and people often, I hear this a lot, people are like, oh, I got rushed in my warm-ups, and that's why I couldn't compete. Well, if it happens more than once, if you're constantly getting rushed in your warm-ups, maybe you should get better at warming up quickly. And you can use it as kind of some conditioning in terms of actual conditioning, actual, like, applicable conditioning to powerlifting. If you're able to warm up quickly, I think that can be beneficial. I don't want that to bleed everywhere. Fine. Again, laziness will win out. I don't want to have to clean off my own bar a bunch. I do not like taping over the knuckle, though, because everything gets slippy past that. Whatevs. I see people take super long warm-up. A dude in my gym who deadlifts like 675 takes 34 minutes to work up. I don't get it. Well, sometimes it takes that much. I mean, if you don't deadlift as much, but I take like 5 minutes to get to my working sets. Well, think of it this way. Every warm-up set that is above your working weight is an extra warm-up set, right? That's an extra set. You have to load the bar, get back to it, kind of a thing. And so I can warm up to my top squat set in under 10 minutes. Even though I can warm up faster on my deadlifts, I have to warm up and I have to take at least 1, if not 2 extra warm-up sets. So that adds time to it, no matter what. Especially if you're like really trying to make sure you focus in and treat your warm-ups like real sets. Alex, when am I switching to Twitch? Man, I was hoping to try it today, but I barely was. I'm really glad that I decided to still stay on the schedule and stream, but I was really not feeling anything today. I was not excited to train. I was feeling like there was zero motivation all day. So I'm glad I'm doing it. It's going better than it. My expectations were really, really low. I had to put some real focus time in to bring myself in to be able to do this today. But one of my goals for this week was to get switched over. And so now because I'm going to be singing the national anthem on Saturday in Tacoma, I don't know if I would be streaming because it's also my heavy. It's not crazy. I think my top pull on Saturday is going to be 725, which should be fine, but I don't want to take that session for granted. So I don't know what my stream is going to look like if we end up doing it on Friday instead, if I want to move it forward a day so I don't have to worry about a time frame, or if I want to try and do it after driving to Tacoma, singing, hanging out at a bodybuilding show, and then coming home and doing it. That's going to be a pretty late night, especially when I'm trying to fix the sleep schedule. So I don't know. Andreas, Big Lenny, I need... Alex, my goal is to be streaming on Twitch by next Tuesday. If I'm not doing that, then I'm behind. Stream the national anthem. We're going to see. We're going to see what... I might be able to film it. I might do horribly at it, and if that happens, then I probably won't post a video. I'll probably apologize to everybody. Andres Pingley, you need to warm up because you get stiff. I need 40 minutes before I even touch a bar. That's including light cardio sessions, though. Yeah, I mean, depending on how much prep you do. Even when I warm up this quickly, I usually do barbell prep before I even turn the stream on, or mobility work if I need it, just because of how silly some of these training weeks can get. Rob, have I ever varied from plate by plate warm-up, more like set percentages? No. It's that's my laziness coming through, because I could definitely see it making more sense. I should absolutely warm up like my bench press way differently, and I don't, because I'm lazy. And so even if my working sets are like 330 or 340, I'll go 135, 225, 315 in 2 minutes, and then go into my work sets. Even though I have guys who bench way more than I do, and if we work out together, they might take 25-pound jumps or something, because I don't know. I think because, okay, here's my reasoning / justification / maybe it's BS, I don't know. I've convinced myself that it makes sense. I do enough full body warm-up stuff that I don't need a whole lot of time with the barbell. I just need to feel the weights and kind of focus myself in. Maybe? Does that make sense? Could be just making an excuse. You should warm up however you feel best to lift. And definitely don't just see what I'm doing and be like, oh, that's how everyone should warm up, because I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. Chick-fil-Eric, Ben, can you sing your highest note for us right now? No. No, I will not. I've been in operas and stage shows where I had to sing a high C sustained. That was tough. Usually, the highest they would have me go, the highest I would put in my rep would be something like a B or a B flat, because if you have any kind of choreography or any kind of movement at all, those notes get real tough. And I could do falsetto way above that, but in terms of like actually using a supported full voiced note, I would say a C is kind of the standard for an operatic tenor. Like everybody has a C. If you want to be like a professional opera singer, you have to have a C like every day. And I had it on great days where I wasn't moving. Lenny, I haven't watched Interstellar yet, no. Big Birdie, what's my favorite opera? I really like, I'm biased to the ones that we did when I was in school and participated in them. I really liked Deflator Mouse. And then my a cappella group did a pop version of that. We did a popra at ICCA the next year, and that's where my girlfriend and I met, actually, as we were opposing leads in our popra version of Deflator Mouse. And we had an onstage kiss, and people freaked out. It was great. All right, first triple, because I don't need more rest, and I'm stalling. That awkward moment where you go from like 225 up to 495 in like 3 minutes, and then you take 10 minutes to, then you take like 15 minutes to do your first triple at 545. I don't know if this is even on target. What are you aiming at, camera? Good thing I checked, because that was not even close, baby! Conventionals don't even count. Conventionals don't even count. It was a silly lift. Silly. There we go. Let's go. Let's go. Get hurt. Get hurt. Protein. Protein. RPE question mark, because those were not challenging notes for that section. Yeet, son. No, boy. B-O-I. Convincing myself to do this. Big Lenny, I'm pretty sure Small Jr. has made my chest bigger. At least it looks bigger. It's a lot of volume, man. Rob, that convinces you my excuse is bench is almost never my first movement, so a lot of it gets warmed up before. Only stupid pause deadlift day. Does bench come first? Yeah. I mean, my bench, because and this is going to sound maybe like an excuse, but my problem with bench isn't a strength issue. I mean, if I was stronger, I would lift more, but it's a mechanical failure. That when I get up to my limit, I never feel like I can't press it out. I just feel like I can't press it out safely, and like my shoulder gives. And so I'm never, maybe if I didn't have that incredible hindrance, maybe my bench would be heavy enough relative to like my actual ability to press something, where I would require more of a warm up. But it's never to the point where if I'm completing it, even if it feels like garbage, it never feels heavy, if that makes sense. I'm just bad at bench pressing. I think I'm pretty proficient at it for my leverages, and considering the fact that I have this like literally over my head every single time I lay down on a bench, like, is it going to separate again? Is it going to dislocate? Am I going to survive this? So I think I make the most of it. I could be better, but yeah, I'm never thinking to myself that I'm not like that I'm not adequately warmed up muscularly, if that makes sense. A popra? It's a popra. It's a popra. A pop opera. We did the storyline of an opera, Deflator Mouse, but we used pop songs in place of the arias. Did DJ Got Us Falling in Love Again? Nobody Needs to Know from the last 5 years. Jesse sang a song by Jessie J, Who You Are. And then we ended with Shots, like a really fun, weird version of, let me see, Francis came out, blame it on the goose, got you, blame it on the alcohol, blame it on the alcohol, blame it on the, and it was like really odd, but it worked, and probably the most fun I've ever had in a music performance. I can't have a guest appearance from Chester because the garage is so cluttered. He likes to like hide under things, and the garage door is open, so he might go investigating and try to be an outside cat again. Where am I at? I got real behind again, didn't I? Andreas, your favorite opera is Nabucco. Saw in Prague a couple years ago. It was one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had. Do I need a spot, Lenny? Fight me, Lenny. Big Birdie, did I have a countertenor in this popra? We had females. We had women. We had women in the group. It was a mixed group, so we didn't need a countertenor. 3 weeks. You guys are talking about Small Jr. Chester's too husky to hide that well. Oh, he's a big boy. I took another video from he was laying in a really weird position, and man, if I could make an Instagram page that was nothing but Chester, but I would honestly be too lazy to sign out of my Instagram and sign into his to post things. But I would spam videos and pictures every single day because he's such an interesting cat because of how goofy he is. That last Instagram post was hilarious. Yeah, and then the next day it was almost the exact same thing, but he had picked another equally hilarious and awkward position to be in, and it was like same thing. Like, what are you doing, buddy? And like he was laying like this, just on his back, like didn't even care. And I petted him on his chest, and he starts licking my hand. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, ah, and puts his face back down. So good. Okay, here's the question: is Brandon Campbell Diamond as old in real life as he seems to be on the internet? He plays it up. He doesn't seem old. He doesn't seem old when you're hanging out. He's like a guy. Just like a guy. He's not even a master's lifter. So he's not that old. So you guys, will I ever play music on stream, or is there a copyright issue? I don't want to mess with copyright issues. So I tend to not. I don't need music to train for the most part. It's nice to have, but I don't rely on it. So I'd rather not risk the copyright, because then they mute the entire stream. If I had 30 seconds of something that happened to be copywritten. So, White Coffee Cat has how many million followers? I'd follow Chester. Chester got a like from some Italian cat, or the owner of an Italian cat who made his cat a profile, and that cat has more followers than I do, which was pretty funny. Lenny, how much do you have to donate to watch Interstellar? I'll eventually watch it, but you can donate. If you donate, anybody who's watching this who feels like donating, donate because you feel like donating. Not to get me to do something, not because you feel like, I don't know. I don't want you to ever feel like you have to do anything like that. How much? Oh, Lenny. I'm not going to give you a number. That's not it. When I say that the donations are always appreciated and never expected, then how much? Alex, yeah, one of the things about the Twitch move, I think, is just the community in terms of live stream culture. Makes a little bit more sense. Google's being a lame rod. I don't blame you guys. No, we're going to move to Twitch. We're going to move there eventually. Also, because doing these has literally killed my YouTube channel. Like my subscriber base just drops off when I live stream. When I post a regular video, I get subscribers, and when I live stream, I lose subscribers. So I guess the community is telling me they don't like this, but that's okay because I do. But if we move to Twitch, maybe we can stem the bleeding a little bit. Let's not forget King Lenny, the first one to donate and the one who fixed the stream single-handedly. Let us not forget. Yep. Well, I appreciated it, Lenny. You saved the day that day. But it is a new day. You also then threatened to DDoS me, and then the stream went down again. So, Alex, that's crazy. You think people would subscribe for live streams? Odd. Maybe when they found out that I'm a regular person, they were just turned off by the idea. Well, they always say, never meet your heroes. And that's why I always tell people that I'm just a regular guy, but I don't know if they believe me until they see me being silly. Dalton, can we get some emotes once we on Twitch? Fam, if we get to the point where I have a partnership with Twitch, heck yeah, the emotes. There's already some in the Discord server. You can have the Angry Biscuit Ben and the Yeah Ben and the Lenny. The Lenny's in there. Dalton, can we get... Oh, no, you already said. Lenny, it was dox, a word which I didn't know the meaning of. You were trying to say DDoS, though. You were trying to say DDoS, but you said dox, but it wouldn't do a whole lot of good to dox me, because most of my information's freely available. I'm not famous. I don't hide my stuff. Yeah, Alex knows I'm standing up. What time did we do the last one at? Okay. Yeah, this is appropriate timing. Appropriate. that little voice in the back of my head that says, man, if you just do a set of 6 at this, you can be done for the night. But I'll be patient. When I've asked about that in the past, I've been told that I shouldn't by the coaches, which I agree with because it's just laziness. Because setting up the first rep is important. Grip on the first rep. Awkward. Off with you. Uno setito, por favor. Get out of here. No burping on the microphone. Blah. 6. RP question mark. Misgripped like a noob. Feels, man. Rob, very different communities. You follow different things on Twitch than YouTube. True. But it's just a different... I'm interested in seeing what the difference would be, and if it's awful, then come back to YouTube and continue to let the channel die. And I don't mind that. If the people who are staying and hanging out are people that want to be here, like I'm not trying to be a YouTube celebrity. I'm trying to help people, and if the content that I am capable of producing isn't what people want to see, okay, then they don't want to see it. I'm not going to hold it against them for not being interested in it. You can't get jealous or frustrated at people for not caring about you for whatever reason. You either give them a reason to care, or you provide them a service that they enjoy. That's how it is. Lenny, you think it's just live streams are less convenient to watch for most people? Yeah, no, I don't. It makes sense to some degree. Right? Just for me, if someone's posting a live stream and then they post a video, I think maybe people thought that the live streams were replacing regular content, and they didn't like that idea. All right, that's fine. Andreas, IPF Worlds 2017. Are you rooting for Bryce Lewis or Garrett Blevins? I'm rooting for everybody in the 105s to have their best day, and for whoever's best day is the best to win. And I told Bryce that, and I told Garrett that, and I've talked to them both in the last 2 days. So I'm consistent with that because I don't pick favorites in terms of who I want to win. They're both good friends of mine. I think they're both genuinely amazing, great people. And my best outcome for this is that no one has a bad day, because I don't think that a win feels as good when you win because someone else didn't perform. And I want them to, and I don't want any of them to have to feel that way, like they underperformed and everyone else had a good day. So I want everybody to have a good day. That's my hope. And I genuinely hope for that, even at meets that I'm competing at. That's what I said when people asked me about the Arnold, or when people ask me about nationals, like, are you, what's your plan? What's your game plan? I'll let my coaches deal with attempt selection if they're going to play the game, but I want to have the best day that I can have, and I want the people who I'm competing with to have their best days too, because I gain nothing from someone else not living up to their potential. It doesn't feel, and maybe there's varying opinions on that, right? Some people, the win is the win, and it's part of the sport is to plan around other people's capabilities and to try and make them miss or to do things. But I don't care about the placement. If I win but I had a crappy day, I'm not going to feel good about it, right? So I wouldn't want someone else to have to feel that way either. Lenny, what's my address so you can deliver me a pizza? I don't think so, fam. I'm not opening it up to swatting. Rob, long form content requires attention spans too. It does. I'm not mad at it. I've just noticed that that's the case. Like after the Arnold, when I started posting videos again, the community started growing, and then as soon as I started posting the live streams, I also had a time where I fell off of posting regular content. So I'm not blaming people for thinking that it made that change. It is what it is. David, cheers from Colombia. Your content helps me a lot. Well, I appreciate that, David. Thank you. Thanks for chiming in. Max, sup, Ben? Washington represent. Yeah. Gonna be representing Washington in Washington at the end of this month, actually. So that should be fun. Alex, does my left bicep ever feel odd deadlifting over under? I've done it for so long, man. It would if I let it bend at all. I try to treat it fully extended and just not let it become an issue. Big on, evil. Good night, Chick-fil-A Eric. You probably already left, but good night to you anyway. I don't care. I don't care that you're probably gone and I said it. I said it anyway. When you wrap your hands, it kind of looks like you're wearing straps in the thumbnail. It's true. It's true. Actually, that was one of the reasons why when I was at Seattle Strength and Power, I decided not to. I actually took. I mean, part of it was the garbage tape. Don't get me wrong, but for my top set, I took off the tape completely because I knew somebody would have said something, because I figured Brandon would probably post it when I did the lift, and so once I was just like, I don't want to have to explain or put it in the thumbnail like, no, that's tape around his wrist, not straps. But I still think there's people who watch the 800-pound deadlift that I did and think it was done with straps because they didn't watch till the end of it when I clearly am not. I don't have straps. But I couldn't have done that lift without the tape because that was literally 6 days after I tore this whole part of my hand off, so I had to have the tape to keep it from just bleeding everywhere. Headless. Max, what weight are you for this training session? My body weight? About 220. 220. Still on that slow and steady way up to the 105s. 220 is probably generous. I probably weigh 219 or 218. Where's the meet at the end of February? In Linwood. It's the Seattle Summer Classic, I want to say. Todd Christensen and Rochelle are putting it on at Locals Gym in Linwood. Lenny, do I ever do any hamstring isolation? No. I have in the past. How would I do it in here? I'd probably use bands if I was to do it in here. Not Alki, Max. It's June 24th, Locals in Linwood. Yeah, I'd probably use bands, Lenny. Honestly, the way I'd set it up is I'd pull that bench out and I'd put a band peg around in one of those bottom things. I'd pull the bench back and loop a band around my heel and then do single leg hamstring curl, seated hamstring curls. That's what I would do. Hey CB, welcome back. Jason, open my bad to wash my very sweaty SB bag. Covered in ants? Oh, bro. Ew. Tommy, I miss you, Ben. Busy lately, but try to tune in as much as possible. Appreciate that, Tommy. Means a lot, brother. Tommy, formerly known as Tony, before he corrected me on the mispronunciation of his name for an entire summer. Big Lenny, been doing seated hamstring curls. They're brutal, man. Yeah, they're definitely not a great way to spend a first date. What is this? Did I mess everything up? Did I mess everything up? No. Okay. I kicked my internet cord. Feels bad, man. Do you want ants? Because that's how you get ants. I do not want ants. My bag to wash my very sweaty SBDs and open my bag and they're covered in ants. Did you, like, spill something on them? Like, did you... Knee sleeves? More like knee straps. Hey, more protein! Actually, fun fact for anybody who was here at the last stream, if you guys remember that I was having that issue with that wasp, unfortunately, we had to battle, we had to duke it out because he just wouldn't leave and kept trying to chase me down. It was a bad thing. But I got some insect traps to set up so that when I have the garage door open, it's not as much of an issue. So maybe I'll have to go check those soon. That wasp, man, it was we had a talk. A wasp? I missed it. No, it was just like for the last 45 minutes of the stream, he was just floating around this light and would just like come down here like trying to get up on this. He wanted his screen time, and I'm like, no. I didn't fight him, Lenny. I was trying to talk him down. I was like, hey man, live your life. I don't want to hurt you. I'm bigger. I'm gonna win this, and then maybe you just need to be gone. Maybe you just need to go outside. He had this whole open world to be a part of, and he wanted to come and hang out in the garage. It felt bad. Ben got a challenger. Talk about a sticky situation. You know, Freudian slip, Alex. Good job. Jason, no, there was nothing spilt on them. Just crazy sweaty and may have neglected washing them for a bit. I mean, washed or not, like ants, though. Where was your bag? I don't know. What would Gandhi do? Well, he probably would try to have a talk with the wasp, too, but eventually we just had to... I feel a little guilty about it. He's still down there. I left him as a reminder to his friends. This isn't the place for you. Stay in your own spot. You can deadlift 800 pounds and still make a person. I think I managed pretty well to not freak out. Like I was staying pretty composed, considering that he was trying to take my life, and I wasn't about that. I wasn't about that life. Jason, I would check under your bed then. Is resting in your room under your bed? I don't know. What do you have, like food under your bed? Maybe. What did I miss your comment? Ben out angled the wasp until he felt bad about himself. Yep, he dropped right there. I'm sorry, Lenny. I always try to. I don't consciously skip your stuff. Sometimes you're not talking to me though, Lenny. Come on, Lenny. Alex, you think I'm a very vascular 220 with veins? Oh, just normal veins. You have them too. Everyone has veins. Why am I don't need to wait this long for this last set. Just waiting to wait. Ugh. Silly. It's silly. I don't know if I should wear these shoes again for the next conventional stream, because I'm really feeling the give in the soles. Maybe five. We'll see. I've only got like 1 or 2 more weeks of these anyway. You got anything? Oh, we got some of the bugs are getting caught up there on that little sticky thing I put up. Just like you said, guys, talk about a sticky situation. Swag. Where to hurt at? Jason, I don't ever fear for my bicep. I always tell people the bigger they are, the faster they tear, and mine are tiny, so I don't have to worry too much. When I deadlift in my Nike running shoes, sometimes I barely notice a difference. Go after work. You don't notice. I mean, you don't notice. I didn't really notice until I got into the mid fives on these, and it's not bad. Those are manageable. I'm just being wussy. Have a good work day, Andreas. Thanks for stopping by, brother. I will have the rest of your updates to you before I go to bed tonight. That is my plan. Rob, I do have my Sabo deadlift shoes, and I prefer them for both stances. I literally just wear these on these conventionals because the weight's light enough that I can get away with it, and because it's just a little shout out to one of my, to Marty, who sent them to me. Alex, you squatted in running shoes and got the biggest back pump ever. Russell, what are my thoughts on the political climate in the U.S.? Incredibly divisive at this moment. There are people who have incredibly strong political opinions, and there's always been political diversity, I guess. There's always been different thoughts on different politicians, but I've never seen it being acted out so aggressively and at the forefront of a lot of things. I'm also way more politically engaged and conscious of things that are going on now than I ever have been in the past. Part of it because I'm getting older, part of it because I took a special interest in this particular last election and kind of educating myself more in current world events. And that's my thought. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Lenny, bicep tears are actually pretty uncommon. Yeah. Any bend that you're seeing in these is literally just my arm pushing, my leg is pushing my arm out, so it's not weighted with a bend in the arm. But either way, if that's something you're seeing, like, you should always think of your arms kind of like ropes and not ever put tension on the bicep while you're pulling for deadlifting, because that's a no-no. Max, my kcal intake on training days is the same right now as my off days. I just rotate my macros when I'm tracking them accurately, which I'm not. I could be doing a better job of that. But one thing at a time. You can't change your whole life in one day. You have to figure out the things you're actually able to do first. And my sleep schedule is the number one priority. So the macros, though, I probably about 3,500. When I'm training frequently, and when my phone works and plays Pokemon Go and I go on my walks every day, I can take in about 3,500 calories and be pretty much at maintenance and just slowly trying to gain weight. Lenny, you can find some videos of Pete Rubish deadlifting like 800 in running shoes. I doubt that. I doubt you can find Pete doing it in running shoes. I think Pete used to pull barefoot. Probably in like the 600s, maybe even the 700s, but I don't think I've ever seen Pete do an 800-pound deadlift with those. Thoughts on high heels and replacement of Oli shoes? Well, do you have the calves for it to pull it off? He highly recommends it. Ben, do you notice you smell weird when you sleep? I don't, so that's how I know that you're lying right now, because I smell like a freaking angel. Max, you find sleep over food better for performance? I think that both are important. I'm not, because we're slowly gaining weight into the meat, I'm not as worried about my macros because I tend to eat pretty similarly most days, but I'm not tracking them to the gram. I have a general idea of how much I'm taking in every day, but I'm not like pulling out my fitness pal every single day. But sleeping is something that if your sleep is off, then nutrition doesn't fix it. Like, it's better to do everything right. But the biggest issue that I've had with my training has not been my food. I've gotten adequate food and I'm staying hydrated. My problem has been, specifically, has been my sleep. So, Tommy, what's my routine for the rest of the night? I don't know if I'm going to actually stream the rest of it because I usually don't stream my accessories. Normally I'm not finished on time, but we totally finished on time tonight. My goal was to finish at 2 hours, so that I could get some other things done and to be able to bring myself down in time to go to bed by 12:30 after I finish my other work and my mobility work. So we'll see. Go up there and the bug stuff. Yeah, hang out up there, silly bugs. Russell, what's my life situation looking like right now? Like, do I have a regular day job? Balance that with training? Training is my job. The coaching is my sole source of income, combined with donations from the live streams. I can't say YouTube revenue because YouTube revenue for a channel as small as mine is pretty much dead at this point. Yeah, and I've mentioned it a few times. I'm actually considering looking for something like maybe a part-time job just to help me add some more structure. Because my biggest problem isn't that I can't work hard and can't do enough to put myself in a better situation. It's just that when I have sole control over my schedule, I tend to not always make the best decisions with it. In terms of, like, I need the pressure of having enough to do that that my ADD riddled brain isn't reaching for stimulation in all these other areas. If I have, like, set goals, because I think we tend to be, if you're talking about your own mental state, a lot of times not everybody, some people are way more conscientious. For me, I tend to be more agreeable. I tend to be high in agreeableness and low in conscientiousness. So I tend to not be a very good boss for myself or a very good employee for myself, because I'll set a goal that I want to do and I'll talk my way out of it and justify it. That it's not important, or I'll put other things in front of that other priority. And they're not like wasted time things. I just am not organizing everything correctly all the time. So that's something I'm really working through the last couple of months, and it's been getting better. It's been getting a lot better. So, case in point, this workout didn't start after 10 p.m. So, Lenny's still, okay, man, if you want to wear running shoes, you can. You can wear running shoes. I would not recommend it. It's him deadlifting in Nike Free. Nike Frees aren't even running shoes. Weird commercial gym where he brought his deadlift bar and Ivanka goes to the gym. He had 802 running shoes. That's silly. Good night, Max. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Actually, I was wrong. His 805 was in socks, but he did 750. 750 and 800, Lenny. 750 ain't 800. Come on. You put respect on my name. Respect it. I don't know where that came from. That was aggressive. I'm sorry. Eat my yeah. Okay, Bart. Mr. Bart. Eat my shorts. Real adult, Lenny. Real tough guy talk there. Short eating. Actually, fun fact, guys, that deadlift split was only 49 minutes, and I had slotted it. So we were on time with the benching within 30 seconds, and deadlifts, even with that the silly slow work set times that I was taking, were only 4 minutes late. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. Is it train? I might actually start doing the Russell, where am I from? Washington State. Washington State, Pacific Northwest, USA. USA, USA. Might actually do some Penlay rows, since I was planning on streaming for the full 2 hours. We got a little bit of time left. Lenny trying to get in a fight. Hey, good night, Robert. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Lenny, you haven't seen... Aliens was in the last stream, but he was only there at the start. I think he's visiting with his girlfriend. So... Russell, back to my earlier questions, though. Do you think all this is worth it? Do you wish you did something else, like maybe pursuing a more sustainable 9-to-5 job and balance that with training? Not trying to say training isn't dope. It is. I think that what I'm doing, if I don't value a lot of stuff. Having a more sustainable 9-to-5 job, I would want something that feels fulfilling. And to be honest, the helping people the way that I'm able to with my coaching and with the times when I have people who message me and say that the lifting and everything has helped them. I use this, let me be clear, the way I view this sport is differently than just what it is. I put a lot of intentionality and ascribed value into lifting because I use it as a way to center my life and center myself as in the context of pursuing personal growth, and I try to apply that to every area of my life. There are things that the decisions that I've made have led me to the point that I'm at, and I don't regret them because I love what I do, and I love what I have the idea of. I should have said professional career in some. I mean, I'm a professional strength coach. I make a living to where I could live month to month and pay my bills by coaching lifters and helping other people with their strength training journey. I don't live an excessive life. I don't seek to live an excessive life. I've never been interested in things like having stuff, I guess, because I enjoy doing this kind of stuff, right? I love the approaching challenges in this way. I love that it's so deeply personal, and kind of as a metaphor for personal growth, and that's why my videos and the content that I make tend to not be about lifting. They are, because it's training footage, but at the same time, what I'm talking about is something that is about goal setting and pursuing goals and mastering the self and seeking fulfillment in your life. I would hate to have a job that I went to every day where I was able to then come home and buy stuff that didn't make me feel fulfilled. I would rather be on the spectrum of being lower middle class and take joy in what I'm doing and feel like it's like I'm working towards something that is fulfilling. And most of my fulfillment comes from my interactions with other people, which is why I like the live streams and it's why I like coaching. That's I know other people who would not find this pursuit fulfilling. Like someone else might have a different interest, they might have a different passion, they might have something else that they love, and their career might be structured to fit with that. I often tell people, like, if your goal is to get rich and make a bunch of money, go into something else. But my goal has never been that. I've never aspired to be rich. So I'm okay. I'm okay with this. I don't feel like it's been a waste. I feel like anything that you're intentional about and that you're passionate about, and that if it provides you with fulfillment and meaning in your life, that I wish more people could feel that. I pity some people who are so committed to being in a professional field where they're not as happy. So what were to happen if you had a wife and kids and need extra income and not only support yourself, but only those who depend on you, hypothetically, of course, then I adjust my priorities for that, right? That's you live the life that fits your circumstances. And one of the things I'm trying to do is find ways to make this more financially lucrative. I'm not a good businessman. I've said that many times, where I think I'm a very good coach. I think that I help people who are interested in personal growth and strength improvements and seeing what their own body can be capable of. And eventually I do want to have, I would like to get married. I would like to be a dad. And I'm definitely have the understanding that I not so much cross the bridge when I come to it, because I'm trying to prepare for it now. So a lot of the decisions I've been making recently have been with that in mind. So I'm anticipating that bridge. But I would never look down on someone else for we had I think Thomas earlier in the stream was talking about, well, I've got all these other responsibilities and training can't be the highest priority. And I said, if you have other responsibilities, then training shouldn't be your highest priority. If you have other things that you need to be committed to, I feel very fortunate that I've been able to make the decisions that I've made. And they've been choices. I made those choices. I weighed the options, and whether they were right or wrong or whatever, they are what they have been, and they've led me to this life. And I've had some very incredible life experiences so far, and I plan to continue to get better and do them. I'm not trying to say that it's a more noble pursuit. I would never claim that. I would never try to put someone else down for making the choices that they're making if it doesn't line up with this. I have absolute respect for people in all different kind of directions and all different life paths. So, yeah, I guess the base of the question is you're asking is, do I regret it? And no, I don't, because it's shaped me to be the kind of person that I am. And while I'm trying to constantly grow and improve and get better in every aspect of my life, I'm very content with the kind of person that I am, in terms of I feel like I am a kind person. I feel like I am a generous person, even if I don't have a lot to be generous with, other than my time, attention, and caring. Those are the things that I value within myself, and I feel like this thing that I've done has allowed me to kind of cultivate that as being parts of my character and personality. So I guess whether that's an answer that satisfies your curiosity, or whether it matches up with what your opinion of, if you think that is worthwhile, it feels worthwhile to me. So I guess that's where I'm at. Lenny, do I ever do weighted pull-ups? Just notice weighted chins in the accessories. Yeah, I do. I have a weight vest. I'm a ways back. I don't know how much it is, 20-something pounds maybe. Lenny, all Ben's decisions are done to feed King Chester. Right. That was, having a cat was a serious decision. Like, can I afford to have this creature's well-being? And it's a cat, so it's, practice like super easy mode training wheels for like having a kid someday, because you can't leave a toddler alone for 6 hours and come back and hope that they have, that they got to their water and food. But good night, Alex. Sorry I missed that. Russell, great answers. Good to know you're mindful of your actions and priorities. Yeah, and again, I'm open to still improving that. Like, it's not, I don't have it down. I would not tell someone that I'm the model of how to live your life. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm not old enough to have claimed that my life has been a super huge success. But I feel content with what I'm doing and the way that I've been able to influence other people, and hopefully I can continue to improve those other aspects as well. Lenny, what's the most I've ever done in weighted chins pull up? I have no idea. You want a cat or a hedgehog? My parents don't like pets though. Chester's more like a dog than a cat, honestly. Kurt, even if your cat sleeps funny, that video was hilarious. Oh, he is hilarious. He's amazing. Chester's he's a funny weird boy. Jason, I do not own Skyrim. My girlfriend plays a lot of Dragon Age. I play. I haven't even turned on my PS4 since I moved. So what, mid-March? I haven't turned on the PS4 yet. But when I did play, I played Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and I took some time off 2 moves ago. I was really playing a lot of Call of Duty and working on that. But Lenny's been watching a lot of hedgehog videos lately. They are an adorable species of critter. Yeah. Well, we hit the 2-hour mark, and my goal was to stream for 2 hours because, like I said earlier in the stream, I had zero motivation today, and I'm actually really, really pleased with how focused we were able to stay and move through, and I didn't feel like I was completely neglecting the chat too. So, Jason, you want to see some rack pulls above the knees rather than Bentley rows? Maybe not today. Sorry, Samuel, starting far too early. Yeah, well, like I said, I'm trying to get that sleep schedule fixed. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday. If you guys are interested in hopping in on the stream either Friday or Saturday, I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be. Because I am doing the national anthem in Tacoma, and that bodybuilding show starts at 6, and that's about a 2.5-hour drive. So we'll see. Russell, over to more training. What are your thoughts on more volume in training? I guess kind of more specifically, why don't you focus more on hypertrophy? I do a fair amount of volume. Currently, we're cutting We're cutting out volume because I have a meet at the end of this month. I was doing 40 working reps of squats in a session just a few weeks ago. So I mean, that's pretty in the 400 to 500 pound range. That's a fair amount of volume for one session. I do 2 squat sessions, 2 deadlift sessions, and 4 bench sessions a week. Hypertrophy in terms of I am not. What meet am I doing, Jamal? I'm doing it's a local meet in Seattle because I'm not trying to travel and then try to get ready to travel again to go to Orlando. Pulling 8, I have no idea what we're gonna pull. I don't have any pre-existing expectations. I'm just gonna try and have a meet to just kind of bring my total up a little bit since I did sort of botch my third squat at the Arnold, and I want to try and remedy that and not have any silly execution errors like that. So Russell, sorry, to finish up the answer to that question, I'm not trying to be a power builder. I'm specifically trying to just be a power lifter. I'm not interested too much in excessive hypertrophy, and we are moving to some of, getting in from the 205 class up to the 231 class and not giving up 11 pounds every time that I weigh in this class, but it's a slow process. And just total volume that I'm doing, anything that's not the big 3 lifts is cutting into my recovery of those 3 lifts, so we'll see. Kurt, did I wrap up the workout in 2 hours? I did. Recently had to readjust my schedule as well. 45 minutes for all the benching, 9-minute transition into from the bench. So like empty bar to all 8 workings, all the warm-ups and all 8 working sets for bench press done in 45 minutes, and then a 9-minute transition, and then all the warm-ups and the 3x3 on conventional pulls done in 49 minutes. So, and that was with me taking longer than I needed to in between. So going pretty okay. Jason, what's my plan? Deadlift third? I don't know what my opener is going to be at this point. Right now, my deadlift feels really strong, and we're going to see. And I'll let my coaches come up with a plan that they think I should go with, and I'll do my best to execute on the day. I'm not concerned. I'm not trying to do anything fancy or special at this meet. I'm just going to give the best day that I can. It'd be nice to go 9 for 9, leave something in the tank, and reposition myself going into nationals. Lenny, how you look is more based on your genetics rather than how you train bodybuilding or powerlifting. Would you agree on that? I don't know if I would completely agree with that. Jamal tried hook grip. It hurts. Yep. It never stops hurting, Jamal. You just get used to it. just going with the, if you expect it to stop hurting, then you're always going to feel the pain. Just expect that it's going to hurt, and like you might think of it, and then you get used to it enough where you're not feeling as much pain as you're expecting, and then you feel better. There you go. Our African, yo bro, you can't just quote Kevin like that. You have to invite him to the chat first. Unspoken rule, Ben stream. Goodness gracious. Lenny's been trying to hook lately. You like it? Lenny, could I go more into depth in terms of genetics versus the way you I mean, the way your body suits what it's being trained and conditioned to do. There's a reason that CrossFit athletes look like CrossFit athletes, and bodybuilders look like bodybuilders, and powerlifters look like powerlifters. A lot of powerlifters who look like bodybuilders either do a lot of bodybuilding style training or they take drugs. I mean, a lot of the guys who look like bodybuilders and train like powerlifters have a little bit of extra help going on, or I've never been a bodybuilder. I've never had that. Jamal, people distribute fat differently. That's true, but it's not going to make you look like a bodybuilder if you're only training for powerlifting. And people have different ways that they carry body fat and stuff, and every body does kind of look different. But if you're someone who's training specifically for bodybuilding as their number one focus, is going to have certain qualities and characteristics, and it's not, I mean, and why would it matter? You can't control your genetics, right? You can only control what your effort is pointed at, adjust your direction, and try to get the most that your body can possibly get from anything. Lenny, but Mark Mirko says the squat pills that you silly boy. Yeah, and Jeff's side talks about eggs as being a great source of carbohydrates, so you can't always believe everything you hear. Large African, I'm returning to bodybuilding at the end of the month and we'll be experimenting with drugs. You got it, man. You nailed it. That's it. That's it. I've magically gotten over my fear of needles. Kurt, so you're saying you have small calves? I do have small calves. I ain't ashamed of it. Big calves, that's extra weight. Lower Wilkes. No thanks, fam. I'm not like Omar Isuf over here. Just kidding. Jamal, yeah, I blow up fast though. Well, you trained bodybuilding for like 2 years before you started doing this, fam. Lenny, Ben, would you ever consider competing in a bodybuilding show? I'm not interested in it. I have zero interest in that. I'd be interested in, like in the past, I've been interested to diet down and to be hyper conditioned, but I have no connection. I have zero connection or interest in that. It's not I respect it. I respect the dedication that it takes to do something like that, but physique sports to me are not performance based. I like performance based sports. And I don't like how subjective it is. I don't like that there's judges that tell you whether or not you looked a certain way compared to a different guy. I like objective, this is a number. Look, there's a number. Yeah, Jamal, I'm not throwing shade, Jamal. I'm just saying that you got a base of bodybuilding before you came over to powerlifting. And you're a big dude, and you got good genetics, and you're strong. Nothing wrong with that, fam. You's a strong boy. Sun Kills Moon, do you think inversion therapy is beneficial for recovery? I'm not super familiarized with it as a regular training practice. In the past, I know a lot of people anecdotally who like it. That's all I can really give. I don't have a whole bunch of I'm not very familiar with the research. So, Yugi, we're done. We're done with the stream portion of the workout. We finished in an hour and 45 minutes. 45 minutes for the bench and only 49 minutes for all the deadlifting, because the first 2 sessions of the week are super short compared to my heavy squats on Thursday and my heavy-ish deads on Friday or Saturday. So, Jonathan, any tips for someone doing a powerlifting meet for the first time besides the usual having fun? I would say that's hard. Don't worry too much about the numbers. Get as prepared as you can in terms of like knowing the details of when things are going to be, when you're lifting, how many people are going to be there. Make sure you know where the venue is, and just try to remove the chances, because something will, with almost every meet ever, something's going to go the way that you don't expect it to. Whether that's wrong or not, something's going to go differently than your expectations. And the more prepared you are, the less it shakes you, because there's less chaos and other things that you don't know going in. If you can find someone to go with you to kind of handle you, even if it's just a buddy who can kind of like, if you're sitting there and you're trying to focus but you need to know something, to send him as a runner to go and ask the table for something and do some of that stuff. Jamal, I need your technique resilience though. I have too many form breakdowns, I guess, because I'm still kind of new to powerlifting. Yeah, and you're a young boy. You're a young boy. My technique was not as consistent and resilient when I was also a young boy. And it still breaks down all the time. You just have to commit to doing it. I will say, and this is not throwing shade, so anybody in the chat or Jamal yourself, this is not shade towards you. You are able to progress quickly, but I'm not sure you always should just put more weight on the bar, because if you do that at the expense of your being able to, like, if it's not sustainable progress, then you kind of outrun your recovery. And remember, your connective tissue, if you get strong really fast, your connective tissue takes way longer to catch up. And if you're feeling yourself having technique breakdowns as you're adding weight, it's not going to get better as more weight gets put on the bar. Your technique is going to take a hit and get worse if you're progressing the weight before you have mastery of it. So, and I think you're incredibly strong, and you have a lot of potential to keep doing crazy things. I keep telling you, I think your deadlift is insane. I think your other lifts are coming along really well. I want you to, I will always encourage you to play the long game, because potential is something that doesn't actually exist. When people talk about it, we understand what we're talking about when we talk about potential, but it is just someone's opinion of what you may be able to do in the future. It doesn't actually exist. Potential is useless if it's not acted upon. And I think that most people have their best realization of potential when they are just committed to taking their time and not trying to rush faster than their body is able to adapt. So that's my encouragement for you, because you do have a lot of potential, and I want you to actually get a chance to use it. That's what I did. I got strong too fast and injured myself. You outran your technical ability to hang with it a little bit, not a lot. You didn't like break yourself to the point where you were worthless for 2 years. So if anything, I think that you were fortunate that it was just a minor setback. Just keep that in mind. Stay the course. You've got time. Everyone tries to do this like, oh, I got to do this as a junior. I got to do this as these age groups. It's going to sound really, it's going to sound different. It's going to sound different it's going to sound different than I intended if I say something like no one cares about the junior class, but you will get people's attention in age ranges, and you will be remembered for what you do as an open lifter when there's not a little asterisk next to the name of whatever you did. So focus on that. Focus on the long run. If this is something you want to be your best at, you have to commit the time to doing it. And your time to do it may be faster than someone else's, but you will never know if you burn out because you're trying to get there too quick. You have to be patient. If it's worth it to you, then be patient. Lenny, I was getting stronger while cutting and ended up hurting myself. Jamal, I got caught up in the numbers and not the progress over time. Yeah. It's not like that's abnormal. That's not a weird thing to do. That happens a lot. How many guys have come into the game and been like, this guy's the next big thing, and then they're gone in just a couple of years because and everyone else is pushing you for it, right? Everyone else is going to say like, oh, get this number. And we all go through that. We all go through everyone trying to hype you up and telling you that you should, this thing or like chase this number. No one fucking cares about your number. You should care about the best that you can do. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't think about other people. Think about the best that you're able to do. The best that you're able to produce is never going to be affected by what someone else is doing. Only think of it in terms of positive motivation, if that works for you. But don't try to chase people. Don't try to hang with somebody, because if you're not able to, you will hurt yourself. And if you are able to, then what they're doing isn't gonna matter anyway. Give your best and focus on the long game and staying healthy and making progress over time. I'm gonna hire Garrett as my life coach and use my metaphor to life guy. I want you to see the potential, man. I want you to see to not just see the potential as a distant, ambiguous thing, but to actually be able to realize the potential down the road. It's like learning to box, Russell. You got to throw 1,000 punches with a light glove before punching form is perfect. Well, I've never seen anybody do anything. I've never seen anybody in this sport do something that's perfect. I guess I've had one squat in my life that I'm like, that one was good. That was the one. If I do every one like that, that was right. One. Been doing this 17 years. Lenny, can I imagine how awesome powerlifting would be on TV? It probably wouldn't be all that interesting, to be completely honest. The sport's not very spectator friendly. You know what I mean, though? Benrice is already my personal pizza life coach. Get out of here, Lenny. Stop it. Stop it with the pizza. Who's the pizza? What was that? The Jennifer Lawrence meme. Not interesting for most people, but I would watch it. No, I'm not saying like it's not interesting. I don't think it would be very... It'd be hard to sell it. The same reason that it'd be hard to sell it to the IOC for the Olympics, right? Because it's not the most spectator-friendly thing, and the only people who really, really get into it are either fans of, like friends of the lifters, or people who are in the sport itself. Because you imagine like watching, if you didn't know what legal squat depth is, because there's people who there's an argument in the sport from people who compete in the sport about what legal squat depth is, or else you'd never see those multiply high squat like cringe memes. And imagine someone who doesn't understand the sport seeing that and then wondering why someone else got red lights on a lift that looked way deeper than that, right? Lee, where do I look when I'm squatting? Also, what angle is my head when squatting? Should be straight. Oh, you mean in terms of orientation? I tend to try and look straight ahead, but I've changed it and tried different things a bunch of times to work around various issues and different considerations. My squat is not 100% dialed in still, because my leverages have changed as my body weight has changed and as my strength distribution has changed. Jamal, I could win nationals if it came down to deadlift. If I progress and maintain my strength like I should, nationals is going to be a show. Even we'll be top 5 with Garrett, Bryce, and me. I'm gonna just do my best. I'm not thinking past this meet though. It doesn't help me out to think about that right now, because I've still gotta just do what I can in June, and then from there we'll assess and see where we're at. So, like, I'm just gonna work as hard as I can, and whoever shows up, because 10 other guys I've never heard of could show up that are crazy strong. I can pull whatever's on the bar. Well, make sure you do it. Make sure you do it. So can you. I'm gonna pull whatever I'm able to pull. I'm gonna give my best. Russell, too much time between attempts that literally only lasts sub 10 seconds. Jamal, I'm gonna push you to be great, bro. I will always continue to do my best, Jamal. But it doesn't. I don't personally find a whole bunch of value in, like, I guess if my expectation of myself is to give my best effort in every single session and make the best decisions I can every single time, thinking about specific anything doesn't help me with that, right? Because you can't change what your best effort is. So that's how I think about it. I actually had this talk with Bryce the other day, where he said motivation, because he's feeling motivated, right? And he's excited and getting ready for Worlds. Said, yeah, man, motivation's so key. And I said, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that because motivation has nothing to do with your capability. because you don't have to believe that you can do something to be capable to do it. It can be a factor in execution, because if you don't believe in yourself and you're not confident and motivated, you talk with a little self-doubt. I don't think of it as self-doubt. I think of it as my commitment is specifically to the effort, the only thing that I can control. I've done this long enough that I know that asking more of myself than I'm capable of doing, like, I have absolute acceptance. I can either do the thing or I can't do the thing, and me thinking I can do the thing or not thinking I can do the thing has zero effect on that. It's because I'm either capable of doing it or not. And if anything, it's a freeing feeling, because my worth isn't tied to being able to do the thing. That's how I prepare for all the attempts that I've done that have been my best ever. Motivation in powerlifting is definitely a long-term constraint. I mean, motivation is a fleeting thing that you don't get to control when it happens. It's a resource that it's great when you have it. It's great when you can feel that motivation and it can kind of push you to do something. But it's not. I don't necessarily think that always being motivated and having absolute confidence is necessary to be able to give your best at something. No one knows their true strength. Motivation can be the edge to push you to the unthinkable. I think it can be helpful when you have it, but when you become dependent on it so that you're not able to work when you're not motivated, which is what most people do. Most people don't actually get to use the positive effects of motivation. Most people become dependent where they're not able to do something unless they're motivated to do it, which is why I've been doing this as long as I have, and I'm still doing it. Because there was a while ago where it came up to, like, am I motivated to still do this? Doesn't matter. It's a choice. I'm making the choice to keep doing it. I'm making the choice every single time I walk up to the bar to commit to giving my best on this. It has nothing to do with motivation anymore. Maybe that's where it started, but it's all a choice now. And that, to me, is more powerful than motivation, because motivation is fleeting and it's something that you never can turn on. And when it's gone, if you've trained yourself only to be able to respond to being motivated and feeling confident, then all the potential in the world is useless. It's life now. I'm not sure if I know what you mean by that, Jamal. Lenny, sorry, I didn't mean to miss your comment. I was just in one frame of thought and was trying to finish it. Ben, what do you think about the fact powerlifting refuses to use instant replay? Do you think they should? The big argument I'd see is that it would slow the meet down. The meets are already really slow, and that really puts a lot on a lot of people. Jamal, your life wouldn't be the same without training. Oh, I mean, I've structured my life entirely around training for the last, I started lifting 17 years ago. I started competing specifically in powerlifting over 10 years ago, and have built my entire life around this sport. I think that's why I can't have it be dependent on motivation. I can't have it be dependent on confidence. I can't decide whether or not I'm going to go to a meet because I feel confident that I can do a thing. I'm going to decide to do the thing because it's a choice, and I'm going to see it through as a responsible choice that I have made and a commitment that I have made. I think it's important to be mindful of the present moment so that you're not getting distracted thinking too far in the future or regretting what you've done in the past. I think it's important to accept the situation and the circumstances that you are in within your life, and whatever the results of the choices you made and whatever the results of the choices that you're making now are putting you in. And I think that committing to the things that you want and basing your life on qualitative decisions instead of internal feelings about what you may feel like doing. Because if you don't feel like getting out of bed, or you don't feel like eating a certain way, or you don't feel like going and hitting the training that you should have made the choice to make, I think that the feeling is something that is, I don't trust it. I trust the choices that I make and my commitment to following through with them. So maybe that's too much. Maybe that's too heady. Maybe that's too much of a different kind of. And maybe if I'm not trying to poop on someone else's way to go about it, right? If what you're doing is working for you, then I would encourage you to keep doing it and to keep having it work for you and to grow through that. I have very much run into many times in my life the point where I can't base it on feel. I can't base it on being motivated or feeling a certain way or having these other expectations. All I can do is try to be in the moment and make the choices that I believe will put me in the best spot. And I'm okay with that. I accept that the results of that approach are going to be whatever they will be. Russell, being motivated to make you go lift day after day is when it's important. The days, weeks, months, years of training are going to be what make up the weight at a meet. I agree with Ben. Motivation is fickle. Discipline is what most people need. Jamal, powerlifting is about growth. It impacts every else. Like I said, man, I've based my entire life around my whole YouTube channel is not about powerlifting. It's about the metaphor of that powerlifting has centered my life to be, about approaching challenge, making choices, overcoming them. And it's changed over the years. My approach and my thoughts and my state of how I think about this pursuit, this passion, has changed drastically from when I first started to where I'm at now. And I think that it's changed for the better in terms of my status in life. Lee Yugi, you also did a super chat, and I apologize I missed it, brother. You've always been so consistent with those. You've been feeding Chester for a while now. I appreciate it. I think it's important to also progress on assistance exercises. I'm still baffled by your 135. Those are 155 Penlay rows, my friend. Like, how long can you use that weight before it becomes too light? You use it until it's too light. Then you go up on assistance exercises. For me, and for my lifters, I guess my training philosophy on that is that I want to be as controlled as possible and get the most that I possibly can out of light weights that are not going to impact my connective tissue as much, and are going to have the least negative effect on those things that are already getting beat up from all of the normal work that I'm doing, and progress them, like take them seriously. If anything, I think I take light rows more seriously than most people who are just putting weights on and just trying to yank their way through it do. I treat every single rep like it is 100% focused and 100% in that moment the best that I can do. And I think that's when your assistance work is actually being used and it's not just an afterthought. So, Len, you think using area play makes much more sense? It can at least be used so lifters can fight bad judging calls. A panel could watch the video and determine. Had a big talk with some people at the Arnold, and I agree with you on a fundamental level, but in terms of implementation and getting people to do it, I have a feeling you'd run into some problems. Jason, I think the ab training, check out the video I made about ab training, actually, about core training for powerlifters that can help you use a belt more effectively. I think controlling your breathing, circumferential breathing, engaging your lower abdominal wall with the Q kind of buoys up to anchor your pelvis so that you're not ratcheting and searching to have that connection in the lower pelvic wall and your pelvic floor. And then to breathe like you're filling up, use some diaphragmatic breathing. And then engaging out in all directions. You almost have to feel it. So I'd focus more on your breathing patterns. And then I do ab rollouts and hanging leg raises are the exercises I like to use because it gives you in an extended position, and then you're having to control you're having to maintain a solid neutral core position while you're extended, and it's harder to do. Russell, how about you just squat below parallel, take all the speculation? Well, the thing is, Russell, where I think that it could be beneficial, and again, I think that if I had my way and I was the one who made all the decisions, I would probably push to implement something like that. But if there are many people, there are some people at meets who get gifts. There are some people at meets who get who have a squat that maybe was good, but then there's human error, and it's happened on both ends of the spectrum. And I think that most of the time we prefer to have a couple people get robbed to keep the standards high. Unfortunately, I think that tends to be the community's general desire, where something like an instant replay or having something that just, it helps to make it objective, the standard more objective, and take out some of the human error. But I still don't have a way to fix the meat delay problem. Jamal, I got robbed at my last meet on my first squat attempt. Yeah, I've had calls that I disagree with, and that's if you do it for long enough, you're gonna get gifts, you're gonna get meat, you're gonna get lifts that maybe you didn't deserve, and you're gonna get lifts that it was borderline, and they tell you that they didn't like it. We agree to compete where we compete, man. That's what it is. We sign the thing and say, I'm gonna let the judges in those seats tell me whether or not my lift is good enough. And if we're not happy with that, then we stay in the gym and lift to your own standards. Basically that's why we go to the competition, is to lift to someone else's standard and to open ourselves up to be judged. And whether or not we agree with that judgment, we have to accept it, because it doesn't do any good to tell people one way or the other. So I feel for you, man. I'm sure I hope that that was just the case at that meet, and that at nationals you don't get robbed, because that would suck. I would never wish that on anybody. I want people to get the calls that they deserve to get, myself included. If I don't hit the standards that they're looking for, I have a squat attempt that I can't watch it because I don't feel like it was good enough, and the judges gave me whites, and I couldn't enjoy that lift. I didn't feel good about it because it wasn't to my own standard, and on the day those judges had a lax standard, I guess. It wasn't in the USAPL. I haven't run into that yet. I haven't gotten a gift from any of those judges yet where I feel like I didn't deserve the squat and they gave it to me anyway. But goodness gracious. Dorothy likes leg raises from the bench. I'm assuming that's what A1 means. Jason, yeah, my last meet, the judges knocked me out mid-squat and stole all my stuff. It's USAPL meet, so I was expecting. Exactly. They came up, clocked you over the head. What can you do? Lenny, I'm referring to my wrap squat. Yep. The only way I can sleep at night is knowing that they mislowered the bar and added 5 extra pounds, and that's where my extra little bit of depth went, I think. Not happy with it. Keeps me up at night, man. Not anymore. I'm over it. It was what it was. I've gotten plenty of other calls where I felt like I got the lift and I got reds instead, to make up for it, I think. Like I said, if you do it long enough, you're going to see enough judges that if you ride the line, sometimes you leave it in their hands. And sometimes you get grumpy judges who don't like you. And that's part of it too. They're people. We're all people. And people have biases, and they have thoughts and opinions of what they think should be done, and we don't live in a utopian society where every decision is always the most fair, and I don't know if it really should be, because we are just people, and we have to just exist in the world we're in. Lenny, would I say that I squat below or at parallel? If I squat at parallel in a USAPL meet, I'm not gonna get the lift passed. Because of how much forward lean I have in my squat, I have to be pretty convincing with my hip crease from the side judges. And that's why I train with a 3/4 angle wearing sweatpants that have pockets that make it look like I'm squatting high. So when I watch the video, I get frustrated with myself and try to squat deeper the next time. And then when I video from the side in my singlet, it looks like I'm going much lower. No, I didn't hear that, Lenny. Rich Piana created a new sleep supplement. It's probably just ZMA and melatonin, I'm guessing. Lee, I didn't watch the Champions League final. I did not. I did watch TSM's first series, though, this weekend, and I didn't watch their second, and I'm glad I didn't, because got some work to do, boys. I think they got cocky. I think they got real hyped going 2-0.
over Cloud9, and then when they had to play Immortals, then they didn't focus up. But that's just my assumption. I haven't watched the game yet. When I watch the games, which maybe I'll make myself do in the next couple of days if I stay on top of getting my other stuff done. But we did the thing where I said that I was going to end the stream at 2 hours, and then we talked for 40 minutes. So we've done that successfully 3 streams in a row. So I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate the conversations and the talks that we're able to have and all the thoughts. I hope that I didn't make anybody feel alienated with some of my more generalized opinions. You know, I don't claim to know the truth. I just have what I have. When do I stream again? Well, Lee, I'm sorry. Well, Yugi, and we decided to call you Yugi, not Lee. Not sure. I'm singing the national anthem at the Tangi Johnson Classic. I think that's on Saturday at 6 p.m. in Tacoma. And so I will either have to try and work out Friday for my deadlifts or try and do it before leaving for Tacoma. If that's the case, I will have a hard cutoff time for the stream if I do it. I feel alienated by your training time. Your night sessions fits better for us. I know, man. I know, because me fixing my sleep schedule means that the actual community we've kind of built up is not as ideal. It doesn't line up as much, especially if on Saturday I end up having to train early. We'll find out. We'll find out how it goes. We'll find out what happens. Dima, you think I'm an outstanding individual. Thank you for the stream. Well, thanks for hanging out and stopping in. Thanks for the comment there at the end. I appreciate that a lot. So Yugi, I will post either Friday. If I don't post anything on Friday, then I'm not lifting on Friday. If I post something on Saturday, it'll either be early in the morning or it'll be pretty late, because if it's late, then that means that I've gone to Tacoma and then come back. It's going to be my heaviest pull before this meet. We're only going up to 725, so it'll be funny that my heaviest pull is actually lighter than my last beltless pause deadlift. But I still want to take that session seriously, and I don't want to overlook it, because that's how you get hurt, is by overlooking things that should be easy when something else goes up. Dorothy, shout out from Texas, 1 a.m. Woo! Well, thank you, Dorothy. Appreciate you sticking it out. I know that that for the rest of the states, this early evening, late evening kind of time is not always the easiest for everyone's sleeping schedules, but I appreciate it. So for anybody else who's watching the VOD of this, go ahead and shoot me a comment in the comment section and let me know if you made it all the way through. Even in segments, I don't mind that. 1 a.m. for Lenny too. Yeah, you guys are warriors. I appreciate it so much. But I have some work I need to do after I knock out these things. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the stream, and either pick it up Friday or Saturday. I'm probably gonna try and stay committed to doing it on Saturday, but I can't guarantee the time. Hopefully next week we'll be able to standardize. Maybe I'll be able to put it up. And next week I'd actually like to do the thing where we switch to the Twitch and try to get that done. At least it gives me a kind of a standard of expectation to get everything set up for that. And maybe I'll make like a little 30-second video here when that happens. It says, hey, I'm streaming over on Twitch, and I'll give a link. So that way people can check it out even if they aren't following the other social media stuff. But that is going to be it for tonight. So thank you guys so much. I love you all. And I hope that you're all doing well. And we will talk very soon. Try to get a video up probably Thursday. I would say tomorrow, but I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I might end up going and helping Jess and her family at the bakery, or I will be editing a video. So, also that Caesar cut is bound to add to your total. Is that what it's called? I asked for shorter. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, you're the one who went to beauty school. Please just make it how you would like it. All right. Goodbye, friends. Love you all. Good night. Good morning. Good evening. All of them. Do it. Yeah.